Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. A lot of people want to change their life, but very few are willing to face themselves honestly enough to do it. Today's guest is Gabe Johnson, a trainer and emerging leader focused on helping people break destructive circles, build discipline, and
hmm
step into purpose. From struggling with habits and direction early on to rebuilding his life through structure, accountability, and leadership. His story is real, raw, and powerful. Gabe, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, so Gabe, take us back to your teenage years, right? And
Yeah,
let's say early 20s.
and early
What
20s.
was really going on in your life
What was going on in my
at that
life? Yeah, so back in my teenage years, I grew up in Spokane. I kind of had some family problems. It was a little bit rough. And then I ended up going to boarding school. And before that, that's when my life was pretty crazy. I wasn't really doing anything. COVID happened, all my grades pretty much tanked. I got to boarding school,
time?
and that's when kind of a switch flipped. I had like no discipline. I didn't take initiative on everything. I was just kind of doing whatever. But that's when I realized that I can't really change my situation. I can only change my actions during that. So then I made it a point that I didn't like being there, but I was going to make the most of it anyway. So I put in as much effort as I could into everything that I was doing. And they had kind of a ranking system. So the better you did, the more you'd be able to do there. So I just completely worked my way up to the top. They ended up giving me this chain actually for doing really well. But I built a ton of discipline and it just completely changed my character. So it really improved my work ethic was the biggest thing.
All right, wow. Actually, it's impressive, right? What you're doing. And the fact that
hmm
you're in your 20s, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Not many of us have the courage to build discipline, especially in our
hmm
early years, because we feel like it's too
hmm
early, or I don't know, but yeah, what you're doing is amazing. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And so when you were sent to the youth branch, what was your
hmm
mindset going on? And how did you change it over time?
Yeah, so it kind of started. I started when I first got there. I got in a lot of trouble. I was just, I was just not having a great time. I was just doing whatever I wanted. And then the more I would do that, the more I'd actually get into a lot of trouble. And I realized that I didn't have to be in like such a negative spot. And there were people that were doing better that could do more things there because of the ranking system. Um, and then I just decided that I was gonna like really focus on that, and I put so much focus into just trying to climb and be able to do more things while I was there. Because I thought if I could do more, I'd enjoy it better because I'm gonna be there the same amount of time anyway. So the things I really focused on were number one was taking initiative. So kind of being a leader in everything that I did, I'd be the first one to do everything. A lot of people aren't really good at making decisions. So I would just make sure that I just make a decision and so we're actually doing something instead of being super stagnant. And then I would also take responsibility for everything. So anything that was going on, I looked at myself and I tried to think, what could I change to make this situation better or improve?
Okay, so basically you started to take full responsibility of your life,
hmm
right? So
Yeah.
yes, I feel like now you can actually give some advice to us, right?
Yeah.
Say
hmm
for people in their 20s today who feel stuck
hmm
in, let's say,
hmm
bad habits or circles, what do you think they are not
hmm
facing honestly?
Who do I think they're not facing, honestly?
Mhm.
Um, I think the biggest thing is, um, I think the biggest thing that people aren't really facing is that they're kind of the problem. a lot of people have a victim mindset and they think that
Mm.
their situation is just how it is. They just got dealt really bad cards and they can't change it. But I was definitely dealt bad cards and I was still able to work through that. And I think everyone is honestly dealt bad cards. There's some people who have better ones, obviously. But everyone has problems that they have to work through. The whole point is trying to work around your specific problems, and that's actually going to make you have different strengths that no one else has. But the problem is if you don't believe that you're going to work through those problems, then you never will. So I think the biggest thing is people's belief in themselves and their confidence. They don't even try to work through them. They just think that's just how it is.
Okay, victim mindset, so, and it's important
Hmm.
to change it. Right. So now, yeah, I want us to do a deep dive into what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
became a personal trainer at 18 with no
Hmm.
experience. So how did you build
Yeah.
yourself up in that environment?
Oh yeah, it was rough. So I started at 18. I worked at a gym. It's called Move Fitness in
Mm.
Spokane, and everyone who worked there was late 20s, early 30s. So I just felt very out of it. I had a really hard time talking to everyone because they were so much older than me. All the clients there, I had a hard time talking to because they were older. So it was really rough starting because I just felt so out of place and like I wasn't gonna last there. So I really focused on my ability to talk to people. And I started with two other trainers. They were actually a little older than me, but close to my age. And I noticed that I put in a lot more effort than they did. So I kind of used that and I did not stop putting in more effort than the people around me. And I almost saw it as a competition, who could I put in more effort than? And actually, it was kind of crazy because after a couple months, I was number one. Actually, I was number two in that club for supplement sales, and I didn't even know it. But it was just because I had worked so hard at the things that I didn't know how to do, and I just tried harder than everyone else. Things just started coming. And then I just kept getting better without even realizing. I would have a problem with my client. I didn't know how to fix it. My first instinct was to go ask a trainer that was more experienced. I didn't know how to get a client to re-sign on their sessions or they wanted to stop. I just asked someone and then I just kept practicing what they said. So the key was really to see the flaws in what I was doing and then figure out a solution and then work on that solution. And then after building that habit of doing that, after like 9 months, I was the top trainer in that club and I actually got promoted to a manager and I was still 18 at a different club. And then it just kind of went from there. I was managing a bunch of trainers, helping build them up, and then I did that for about a year and a half and it was great.
Wow. Okay, so you would
Yeah.
not believe what I'm thinking about right now. Okay. So I had a guest, right? His name was
Yeah.
also Gabe,
Oh,
right?
really?
Namesake, yes.
Hmm.
And he's a young, very young child. I think he's a
Hmm.
child that he's 13 and he was able to
Hmm.
build an app at 13. And then there's you.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing to at your age.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
thinking, should I just change my name to Gabe?
Yeah, that's a good
Probably
idea. I know,
probably I'll
chats
start
with Gabe.
achieving things too when I change my name, right?
That would be so funny.
Okay. So don't mind me. Anyways, right? So I really do
Yeah.
admire what you're doing, and
Hmm.
I think it's great. I think you're brave, right? Especially when
Hmm.
you went into fitness at your age, and
Hmm.
like you said, you faced challenges, but you were able to face it head on, and you came out strong, right? Not many
Hmm.
people have such
Hmm.
in them. So yeah, let's talk about
Hmm.
leadership, right? So
Yeah,
we
thank
talk a
you.
lot about
Hmm.
leadership. How do you define
Hmm.
real leadership
Yeah.
from your experience?
Yeah, so this is actually something I'm really passionate about. A leader is someone who, like I was saying while I was at boarding school, the initiative and responsibility, those are really important aspects for a leader. And I think a leader is someone um who just goes before everybody and who doesn't tell them what to do, but they walk with them. So, like I was saying, the initiative, that's really important because a lot of people don't know what to do. They don't like to make decisions or waiting for someone else to make that decision. And a leader just steps into that role immediately. And it's not just out of like pride, it's also out of care for everyone else. So, in order to be a leader, first thing you have to do, you have to build relationships with people and not service level relationships or like how a lot of managers are. They just kind of talk to their people, but they don't have any depth. It has to be like a real relationship where this person feels comfortable like talking about their dad dying, stuff like that, and they know that you care. So genuinely caring about people, building relationships, and then making it completely selfless. So you're focusing on that person and you're doing that with your entire team or everyone you're leading. And then after you have the relationship built, then it kind of takes you to a new level. So the foundation of leadership is relationships. And then you have to build like a reason for them to actually follow you. Because if you lead them to somewhere they don't want to be, they're not going to follow you. So you also have to have kind of experience. Um, but depending on where you're a leader, like if you're at a job, obviously you have to have experience in that job. Whatever it is, you just need to have experience in that thing. And then, like I was saying, initiative and responsibility. You're the problem solver. If someone isn't up to your standards, you have to make sure to call that out, but in a caring way. So a caring way would look like um, telling them the stuff that they're doing right, and then saying, well, you're also doing this. This isn't really the kind of culture we're trying to build. I'm gonna need you to do this instead. So the biggest thing is just caring about your team and just walking with them with you at the front is how I would explain it.
Okay. So thank you so much for that one.
Yeah.
And then it said initiative, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the points you gave, right? Number one was
Yeah.
initiative, problem solving, and
Hmm.
you also mentioned trying to correct, but like in a good way, not in a
Hmm.
rude way, right? Okay,
Yeah. Hmm.
noted. Um,
Yeah.
so yes, let's say for someone listening right now who lacks
Hmm.
discipline or direction,
Hmm.
what is one
Yeah.
practical step they can take right now?
Yeah. So for somebody who lacks discipline and direction, specifically discipline, the biggest thing you just got to do is you take baby steps and do things you don't want to do. So, for example, let's say you do not want to go take a cold shower, just go take a cold shower. And the hard part about something like that is that if you think about it, your mind's going to talk you out of it 100% of the time. So you need to not think about it. And the tip that I would give all my people, because like all my trainers would overthink all the time, the tip that I would give them is to just start walking. Because once you start walking, once you get into the cold shower, then you have to deal with it and figure it out. You can't overthink it when you're in that situation. Now you're in a mode of problem solving versus trying to decide if this is right for you. Because if you're stuck in the mode of trying to decide if this is right for you, you're never going to move. So getting into the mindset of moving and figuring it out versus trying to think if this is the right decision. And then it's kind of the same with direction. You're never going to think your way into the right direction. You just have to move. And then once you're moving, then you can kind of figure out if this is the spot you want to be in or not.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Warren. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm moved to ask, right? So, what are you
Hmm.
currently building or working on that excites you the
Yeah.
most right now?
Yeah. So right now, I'm actually waiting for a new gym to open. I just moved down to
Oh,
Scottsdale. and they're opening a new gym end of April. It's Lifetime Fitness. They're opening one in Paradise Valley. So I'm actually going to be a trainer there, and we're starting next week, getting everything set up. But I'm
Mm,
super excited because this is a brand new gym, new opportunity. We're going to build a great culture. I'm also working on a community, um, and trying to build up my social media. So my goal with that, I want to, like I was saying, build up a community and then be able to influence people that way. The biggest thing I'm passionate about is helping people like come together, support each other, and build up those skills like leadership, discipline, make people excited to live their lives and do things that they want to do versus overthinking and just staying in the same spot. So I'm kind of building up like avenues where I can help influence people to grow in those areas.
mm. All right. Wow. Okay. So, looking ahead, what kind of impact do
Hmm.
you want to have through your work or message?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get people to do what I'm doing. I want
Okay.
people to see a big goal and instead of thinking that that's too big and they can't do it. I want them to just go for it and figure it out.
And just go for it. Don't think too much about it. Just
Yep,
go for
just
it.
do it.
Because, like
Yeah,
I said, if you
exactly.
start to think too much about it, your
Hmm.
brain might trick you into not doing it at all.
Hmm.
So just
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Exactly.
Hmm.
All right. So this has been amazing. And my
Yeah.
final question for you, even though you've given a whole lot of answers, right? This one is still, I
Hmm.
feel like you have more to offer, right? So for someone in their 20s who feels
Hmm.
lost, stuck, or
Hmm.
probably caught in destructive habits, what
Hmm.
honest, direct advice would you give them?
I would tell them think of think of where you could be.
Mm,
So if they're stuck in destructive habits, imagine their life without those destructive habits and best case scenario, a lot of the time it's going to be somewhere that seems completely impossible, but just take a step towards it and make sure it's a big step even if it seems like you can't do it, still take a step and you might even change your vision in the future, but the momentum of you moving in a direction upward is going to keep building more momentum. And that's going to get you either to that point that you're thinking of at first, or it's going to get you to realize you want to be over here instead of here. And then you're just going to keep building up to there. So make sure you're always moving and always taking steps.
mm. Okay. So yes, and this is to my audience, right? If you're trying to break
Yeah.
cycles, build discipline, and step into a stronger version of yourself, this conversation is definitely for you, right? And so, yes,
Hmm.
Gabe, this brings me to the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right. Okay. Discipline or motivation?
Discipline,
Okay. Comfort or growth?
growth,
Okay. Faith or fear?
faith. That's a big one.
Okay, all right then. Okay, what
Hmm.
is one word for leadership?
Accountability.
Accountability. Okay, and finally,
Hmm.
one habit that builds strength.
Taking steps even when you don't want to.
Hey, all right, you did amazing, Gabe. And
Yeah, thank you.
where can listeners get to learn more about you and what you do?
Yeah, if you go to my Instagram, it's underscore Gabe underscore Johnson underscore. Then I'm gonna be posting a bunch of stuff on there. When I start training, I'm gonna post updates and stuff like that. So
Great. All right. I would
yeah,
actually like to follow you on Instagram because I feel like we
yeah,
have the same goal, right? I'm also trying to
hmm,
build my Instagram. So I'm gonna
yeah.
give you a
There you
following
go.
after this. All
Yeah, I
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you to my
Yeah,
listeners.
thank you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Gabe. Do have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, you too. I appreciate it.
all right. Bye bye.